Welcome everybody to another episode of Close the Gap. I'm your host JR. Y'all know the vibes. If y'all liking what y'all seeing and want to subscribe to it, go ahead and click on that button down there below. Also, go ahead and please put some comments down there, man. Really want to hear what you guys are thinking. If you guys are getting any value of the show, and again, what you guys getting out of it. But let's just jump right into it. These lovely people sitting next to me are, to me, some of the most creative, hard-working individuals I've worked with on a project before. So we all came together to work on the Arthur Ash project, right? And for those out there that don't know what that was the renaming of the Boulevard, right? A long strip in Richmond. Am I right by saying? Because I'm not from Richmond, but I know it was a long road. Right? I know it was a long road.
Yeah.
And we changed it. A historical street. Yeah, right? Because, I mean, if anybody knows Richmond and knows their history, a lot of shit happened here in Richmond. Before slavery, after slavery, and all that in between. But we got together. A gentleman by the name of David Harris brought us together, right? To help push this movement, further, especially with the community. But again, we changed the Boulevard to Arthur Ash, right? Which was huge.
It was exciting because if you come visit Richmond as a visitor, new resident, you go downtown, you hit Monument Avenue, and the avenue is full of all these Confederate statues, and there's streets named after Confederate generals everywhere. And Arthur Ash is one of the most significant people to come out of Richmond, who is not a Confederate general, not a slave holder, just doing good things.
Yeah.
He didn't even need to be on a horse.
So what was crazy was I was talking to David, and David helped remind me that, so Monument, right, where Arthur Ash is running, at the end of Arthur Ash, he played tennis, stepping a little like a block on Arthur Ash. He couldn't play tennis,
Right.
because of the color of his skin, right? So it was a historic change that we were able to help. That lovely voice and that lovely face that you just finished hearing is Michael. So if you guys can, just real quick, tell the people who you guys are, 30 seconds of who you guys are.
Start with the artist.
30 seconds, yeah.
I'm timing you. Go.
I'm Baxton Baylor, local Richmond native, 80s baby, creative, and had the privilege of being a part of a great historical event here in town.
Tell them your name. What's your nickname?
My nickname? Oh, yeah. My nickname is The Artist.
The artist.
That's who I am on the team.
What about you?
I'm Sandi Cauley. I am a native Texan.
Oh.
A native Texan, yes. I've been in Richmond since 2001. And I am not an 80s baby. We'll leave that there. And
Right?
I'm 28 forever. No.
I never questioned it.
I was I'm a media type, and so my nickname is the Handler.
Because you handle it.
Because you handle it.
Handle it.
Yeah, that's right.
My name is Michael Way. Good to see everybody. They call me the lens because I'm putting this in people's faces all the time, and for some reason people don't punch me. My given trade is architecture, but I also do photography and I write and am a general nerd. So when I heard that other nerds were getting together to do nerd things and like change the street name, I was like, sign me up.
Right.
Let's go get beat up somewhere.
There you go.
That's it.
We are one half of the Get Fresh crew.
Really,
That's
just
right.
one half. Exactly. We're
That's
missing.
right.
We're missing 4 others.
Because even our nerd friends stand us up sometimes.
Exactly. Right.
Correct.
We got lives too.
So that's why I can't thank you guys enough for taking the time to actually come on the show or on the podcast and talk about this project.
Yeah.
I'm doing it because I don't want this project to go dormant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was such a big hype. We did such a huge movement with social media, with the artistry, with the branding. With the photography. You know what I mean? And we did a lot of hard work, and I didn't want it to go to waste. And at the same time, we also did things that I feel people sometimes don't know how to do.
Right.
For example, the handler. You handled a lot of media, right? So I know you have a lot of tricks in the trade that you did for the Ash Project to help us get in front,
Yeah.
right? And that's the type of conversation I want to have today. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the strategies that we did to help, when it comes to the visuals, the branding, the media, to the digital stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So so Baxton, let's start with you because you were part of that nucleus.
Founding father.
Founding,
Yeah,
like
founding
that.
father. That's a good one.
So
Yeah.
explain to us the pieces that you needed in this chessboard in order to make this thing happen.
Yeah, well, it all started with our client, David Harris, nephew to Arthur Ash.
That's right.
Grew up with David. We've known each other for 20 plus years, but the request came for me because he knows I'm an artist, the artist, to develop a t-shirt design for this whole movement of changing the name of the boulevard to Arthur Ash Boulevard. And me, at this point in my career, I'm more of a creative thought leader. So I like getting teams and innovative thinking and conversations together about how to, change landscapes, how to push the envelope, how to do something that would, change people's lives forever. So from that point, there was some people I had in mind that I knew as a creative, we could actually pull off something that would make history here in Richmond.
Right.
So from that aspect, it was more so bringing in someone I consider as a creative mentor of mine, another fellow creative of mine that we've done business together for about 5 or 6 years. So we sit around his table, his dining room table, to come up with the strategy of our initial strategy was to develop a brand, a message, a voice around what Arthur Ash Boulevard meant. What it meant for David and his family and what it meant for the city of Richmond.
Can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
Because I want people to remember that we didn't have to make a campaign for the community. We chose that, right? We chose to make sure that the community was behind because technically in order to get the street renamed, it needed a vote outside of our hands. We couldn't go and petition for these people's votes.
Correct.
This was a selective vote from, I don't know, I'm not, who did we have to?
I think it was city council.
It was city
right?
council. Right, the city council had a vote for it.
Gray, city council.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And a shout out to Kim Gray because she was definitely as soon as David instrumental to this. So big shout out to her and thank you all Richmond honestly for the support. But I share that because when we got together, it was because we knew we wanted the community behind us.
Correct.
Right. Because technically, like I was finished saying, we couldn't go to City Hall and petition. Vote. I mean, we could, but I mean, technically, at the end of the day, they were the final ones with the decision, right? But we knew that this decision was instrumental to a lot of change.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? And I think reaching out to the community and letting them know about it was something why I got involved. Because Don Treese made that clear.
Right.
I'm going into his house and seeing all the pieces of paper around the wall, right?
So help me understand, because I came in the process a little bit later. So David comes to you first, or does David go to, and then you guys go to Don Treese? How does that?
Right. So David approached me first, and then
said,
Don,
make me a T-shirt.
That's correct. Can you make me a T-shirt?
Right.
Backs? Our family is embarking on this project.
So it's just him. He's a lone guy.
Lone
wolf.
So, like I said, me being a nerd, but also, wanting to be like like anything. I love bringing people together.
Right.
So, Don Treese Brown, which is a large influence in the city of Richmond right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Andre Johnson, another great creative.
Shout out to Andre. Shout out to Don Treese.
It was more so us getting together alone to plan out. Okay, what does this look like? Hey guys, I have a T-shirt design, but it's bigger than a T-shirt.
So David had already reached out to these people individually, or did you bring Don Treese and Andre in?
No, I brought Don Treese and Andre into the
because you were like, this guy came to me, wants me to make a T-shirt, but I think it's a little bit more than that.
No, it's bigger than a T-shirt.
Yes.
And that's how I am. I think way bigger than most people
Yeah, so
You know,
you was putting the puzzle together.
He can't properly
Right.
shout himself
Right,
out
thank
for
you,
how
right,
much
thank
he
you.
did.
Right.
But I interviewed
Talk your shit
David,
Yeah.
and it became clear very quickly. You know that scene in army movies or some heist movie where they're like, assemble your team,
Right.
assemble the Avengers.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, that's
Baxton
right. Yeah.
does the assembly.
Assembly, right.
He brought the majority of the talent to the
Right,
table,
right.
and because he really has an enthusiasm for bringing people together
That's
and
correct.
hangs out with talented people.
Yeah.
So those
correct.
four come together. You
Yes.
guys come
We
together.
come together. We're working nights after work, after our freelance, after our gigs, working for about 2 or 3 weeks just on developing a logo and a brand,
Mm-hmm.
color
And
scheme,
And a strategy.
the strategy, learning about Arthur Ash.
So did you
learning
come up with this
history.
Did you come up with this logo
Yes,
during
we all,
that meeting?
right. We all came up with the mark. Yeah,
The
the
mark.
logo mark, what it meant, how it's going to be related to the project, the movement, and how we're going to lay this out, how we're going
All
to
right.
push it.
And so how far out is that from when we actually get the name of the street changed?
Okay,
Sounds like
so
what,
this
fall?
is
2
this
years?
is yeah,
1 year?
this is maybe 5 months, 5 to 6 months.
Yeah, because what you
Yeah,
brought me
this started in November 2020.
because you brought me in and you
Yeah.
brought me in
Yeah.
December.
right,
Because I still remember getting called from
Yeah.
you
Right.
and you were saying, "Hey,
yeah,
we got this idea. You know,
Yeah.
met with David,
right.
but we
By
need
that
some
time, we
digital."
had a brand.
You did have a
and-
brand,
and
exactly.
we're looking at developing a website.
I think the website was already kind of
Right,
in
we're
development
in
stage.
wireframe, but it
Yeah.
was more so we need a platform for communication.
Correct.
And I knew the guy that called for digital strategy. And that's where I gave you a call in
Yeah.
December. In
Yeah,
January.
yeah.
Because from and just to kind of true back, there were a lot of points in this process where there were opportunities for public hearings around this project.
Yeah, exactly.
There were opportunities for the vote with city council. So all that kind of played into how we work and how we roll things out.
Yeah.
Right. So from that aspect, I mean, fast forwarding to when they actually voted on this thing in February, now we're fast tracking.
Yeah.
We need
Right. Now we need sponsors.
Now we're saying,
Right.
is this an event? Do we get the city together to rally together to bring every family to cross lines? It's not about race. It's about celebrating our native son. It's about celebrating the city. And during this time, there was a lot of political turmoil going on in the background, and we knew this would be a way to kind of, bring people back together and make people feel good about Richmond again.
That is one of the most interesting things about this effort that drew me in.
Yeah.
Because it's on the surface, if you're not from Richmond,
Right.
it doesn't sound like a huge deal.
Yeah.
Oh, you renamed a street, good for
Right.
you.
Right.
And what really happened for me as, someone getting a ride, shotgun,
Right.
riding backseat, riding the trunk, wherever I'm riding,
Right.
is getting to see how even modest changes require great deals of teamwork.
Yeah.
And you talk about getting the public on your side.
Yes.
It is essential for any change, no matter how small or big, that you get the public because that makes the city council's votes possible. It gets the
That's
state
correct.
legislators'
Correct.
votes possible. It
Correct.
gets the
Right.
Congress's votes possible.
Right.
And so what I happened to be fortunate in getting to come in when I did was I was there
Yeah.
photographing your early dining
That's
room
correct.
meetings and saw the vision boards
Yeah.
of you assembling this marketing campaign and figuring out how to communicate change, which is threatening
Yeah.
to
right.
southern towns,
That's
southern
correct.
cities, threatening in general. Everyone's
That's correct.
protective of their turf and protective of their street name. They don't
Right.
want to change their mail, they don't want to change their stationery.
Yeah.
How do you get over
Right.
that defensiveness?
Correct.
And you had
Exactly.
to build a campaign through visuals and messaging, and it was very cool seeing that. get
Yeah, I
off.
agree.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think the
Yeah.
visuals really helped a lot to kind of ease a lot of that tension
Right.
or confusion. You know, like
Yeah.
what is this? Is this
Right.
is this all about? I'm sorry, all about black people? Like it wasn't,
No.
right? It was
No.
bringing everybody together, just like Arthur Ash,
Right.
was doing before us. But Sandi, to you, so the vote came in, right? I mean, and you, like you were saying, now it was the time to.
Yeah.
Is this event? What do we do? Do we rally?
Well,
So then how did you get involved?
So I was pre-vote,
Yeah,
but
for
I was
sure.
in the background. Like you
Yeah.
don't see me because
Yeah.
I'm at a board meeting for Scott's Addition, which is a neighborhood in Richmond,
Yeah.
and it's represented by Kim Gray,
Yeah.
and part of the Boulevard goes through Scott's Addition.
Correct.
So a big chunk, and so Kim had the foresight to think, well,
Mhm.
if we can get the neighborhood association on board with us, then we can get the vote possibly to pass a little easier.
but why is that
But
important though?
It's important because we're a pretty powerful entity. We're the most
Right.
popular neighborhood right now. We're the hottest neighborhood in Richmond, and we're a lot of small business owners that make up this change in this neighborhood.
Right.
So she realized that if she had our buy-in, and she could go to the council and she could say, hey, this is a neighborhood that supports it, and this is a
That's
neighborhood that
correct.
supports it, then it was likely going to change.
Right.
But to be fair, there was another neighborhood association that also represents the other
Yeah,
part of the
that's
Boulevard. So the Boulevard is divided by Monument
Mhm.
Avenue, or was at the time. Scott's Addition was one side, and the Fan District, the Museum
Right.
District was the other side.
Right.
The Fan District, the Museum District, and not necessarily so
Right.
supportive.
That's
So
correct.
we were like, hell yeah, we're gonna support it. She came to the meeting, she
Mhm.
said, there's a man, his name is David Harris,
Yeah.
he owns a business here in town. He's the nephew of the late Arthur Ash.
Mhm.
He has this idea to rename the Boulevard after his uncle. And we're all like, oh, like,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
a big thing he's asking.
Someone's
like,
gonna get mad.
like this,
Really
like
mad.
that's really a sweet idea.
Yeah.
Right.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
A little crazy,
Right.
because we're still, the South is still Richmond,
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
people
sure.
are still mad
Yeah.
that Arthur Ash's statue is on Monument
on Mon-
Avenue.
yeah.
They're still bent about that.
That's
That
still-
Yeah.
happens,
We forgot
you
the
know?
horse. That's our bad.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
My fault.
So we're sitting in this meeting and we're like, okay, well, we'll support that.
Yeah.
But we're a little bit scared because, we know how it can be here. It
Yeah.
can be all in or it can be all
It's like the
adversarial.
mafia.
Yeah.
You can't talk to them without.
So
Yeah.
the yes from the board was yes, David could come to a public meeting, because we have two meetings. We have the board
Mhm.
meeting and then we have a public hearing, a public meeting. He can come to our public meeting
Yeah.
and present his idea to our people, our members, which are made up of residents and business owners. And if they say yes, then the board will support the vote as well.
Okay.
And so that's what he did. He came
Yeah,
to a public
okay.
hearing.
Yeah.
Or a public meeting. I'd never met him. And he came in. I think he had come to the meeting actually. I'd met him once. Hello. And David's a very, introverted person. He's
Yeah.
shy and
Yeah.
he doesn't, speak out much. But what you could tell, as soon as he took the mic, this guy meant what he said.
Oh,
It was
right,
coming
yeah.
from the heart.
Yeah.
That's correct.
There was no hidden agenda.
Yeah.
He wanted to do this, and he also recognized. He said, my family has tried this before,
Yeah.
and we
Right.
were not successful.
Yeah.
And I don't know if my mother could take it again. So if it doesn't happen this time, that's it. We won't try again. Because I don't think my family can really take it. And I was just like, oh man, this
Yeah.
is deep, And so I think people in that meeting were like, okay, we'll support it. So we did, as the association.
Yeah.
And then it drives. The bus continues to
Yeah.
drive without us.
Right.
Goes to City Hall and it passes. And we
Mhm.
have no more participation as
So that was okay.
for a little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
And then
yeah.
And then it circulated again.
That's
Like you
correct.
said, it
Right.
said, okay, so then the Arthur Ash Boulevard is going to be a thing. It's going to happen.
Right. It's gonna happen.
What is it exactly now?
Yeah,
Is it this
right.
one just unveiling?
Yeah.
Is it a party that
Right.
kicks it off?
Yeah.
Is it, well, maybe we have to do a social justice forum. Maybe
Yeah.
we have to talk about it. And then
Right.
maybe, of course, we have to have a tennis tournament because
Yeah.
it's about tennis. And so
Right.
it became like all these other layers. That was on your
Right.
side. You
Yeah.
guys were doing that.
Yep.
And David circulated back
That's
into our
it.
meeting
That's
again.
So why do you think yeah, go ahead, because I guess my question is, why do you think we did it that way, right? Because we could have easily just been like, just an unveiling,
Right.
we're done. Like we did our push, we had the website. Why? Why do you feel like we made it, I know we said the community, but like strategy.
Right.
What was a good idea of doing a forum? What was the point of that? You know what I mean? Help people understand that.
Right. Well, like I said, a lot of those components to her point, to Sandy's point was, how do we touch on the values and the accomplishments of Arthur Ash and bring that to life in 2019? We
Mhm.
wanted to bring that back to people. There's a lot of generations of people that know Arthur Ash, but may not have known that he did social justice things in South Africa. You know, may not have known that, you know, he was doing all types of civil rights type of thing, you know, programs. I mean, he represented the Heart Foundation, the American Heart Association. I mean, he represented the whole AIDS foundation. And when a lot of people during that time, they shunned it, and they may have thought it was like premature and why AIDS existed. He actually had to do a press conference. Like, from what I heard, the backstory was a reporter found out that he had AIDS through a surgery, found out, called him. He said, give me 72 hours, and he set up his own press conference to share with America what was going on. Powerful person.
Which then even was an heroic approach.
Very
to
heroic
addressing
approach.
having the disease.
And that was his characteristic, it always seems like, especially just him when he played tennis, the way he played tennis, because wasn't he like the second or first or second African American that won?
He was the first.
Was he the first?
Gibson,
Out there was
I believe it was Wimbledon.
Wimbledon,
Yeah,
right?
Wimbledon.
US Open, he was the first.
Yeah.
He's the first male.
So do you see that, like, and especially in a game of tennis where you are scrutinized by, at that time, the color of your skin and even the way you play the game.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that confidence. I'm sorry. Yeah,
No, that's a great point because like you say, all of those components to represent who Arthur Ashe was how do we share this with the general public?
Correct.
How do we share this with the community of Richmond?
Yeah.
Get this, get more people to rally behind him, and learn different aspects of him. So from, like I said, from the back end, the technical side, the strategy, we needed the PR. We needed after that, we needed the advertising. We needed the sponsorship because it was on our dime at that point.
Yeah.
How do we bring a large scale citywide event, on our dime?
Yeah.
Well, I think people realized, and like I know that once we realized it had passed and it came back to the board, we were like, well, we can't just let this not be a
That's
thing.
it.
Damn, yeah,
And
that's it,
because
right.
I mean, this is a town where like if you make it on American Idol and you come in like 5th place on American Idol, they throw a damn parade for you.
Right.
Elliot,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
when is that guy recorded since? But I know there was a parade for him.
Right, for sure.
This is a man who won the U.S. Open. And, like broke racial barriers.
Yeah.
And like Davis Cup, like,
Right.
and that's just the athletic side of it.
Yeah.
And I don't remember there being big celebrations like that. So
No.
this was that moment to come around
Right.
and honor him.
Right.
And I think that people sitting at the table, we were kind of like, well, I have, I know my friend who owns River City Roll was like, well, I own a venue. We can have, we can rent out the bowling alley and we can do a sponsorship.
Right.
And these were just on our end at the association. So I mean, I think it was something like that too.
That's
You start to realize like, what kind of tools do I have in my arsenal? And what
Yeah,
because
that's
I'm
it.
sitting at the table now, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, and have you done? I'm asking David, have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done this? And he's like, yeah, we got that. Well, we got someone we think on shirts. Yeah, we got that. Yeah, we got that.
Right,
And so I said, okay, so you got press releases, you got the media, and he goes, no, we know we have to do that, but we don't have anyone to do that. And I was like, okay, I can do it. You know what I mean?
So
you start to look at yourself, and you're like, well, what can I do?
Yeah.
Because now you're like, I got to be part of this.
That's
And there
dope,
was that sense that one had to be a part of it.
Correct.
And I think it was a opportune moment for the city as well,
Yeah.
and a lot of the vendors, including establishments like BMFA and the Virginia Museum of History and Culture.
Capital One.
Especially in the last several years.
Right.
I don't know about you, but since the election, I feel like everyone in Virginia has been a little on edge, as across the country. And you look at your neighbor and you wonder, who are you? Am I safe around you? And I moved down here from New York in 2016 in the spring. And so I wasn't sure, what is Richmond going to be like? Don't they have all those crazy statues? What kind of city is it? I'm sure the food will be all right, but I really don't feel like looking at the back of Robert E. Lee's head every time I drive to work. And what was special about the celebration, you asked why all the different events, why they have to have a kickoff, like the Social Justice Forum, that coupled with the street name change read to me, especially when I was photographing the events, as signaling to everyone that you are in fact home here. Richmond is home for everyone here.
No, it's crazy that you say that because I mean, we're fast forwarding, but we'll rewind a little bit. But we'll fast forward. We can go back and forth. I love this conversation. But to your point, man, when David was talking at the VMFA, and I was in the back because I lost my seat.
You mean at the social justice
forum?
Okay.
Social justice forum, but also at the day of the celebration where we actually had what revealed, the sign.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of people that showed up was crazy. Because I was sitting in the front in the beginning. I had a reserve seat, and then I got up and I lost my reserve seat. So
they were going fast.
They were going fast.
It was hostile.
Yo,
you're like crazy.
Right, exactly. So I went back, but when I went all the way in the back and I saw the crowd, it was pretty amazing to see that, to see how we just the name change, but we also helped rally the community together.
It was the number of the crowd and the blend of the crowd.
That's what was the blend. Yes,
it was amazing.
And everybody listening and everybody feeling pride, right? Because it didn't matter the color of your skin because I was wearing the same shirt, and everybody, where'd you get the shirt? That was great. About time.
Yeah.
I think I've heard about time. I lost count. Right?
Yeah.
Which was awesome. But I wanted to share why we did it to the audience because I get it. Especially for the digital push. Everybody now is on their phone, right?
Yeah.
So we wanted to make it seem, we wanted to let people know that everybody was welcome.
Right.
This was for everyone. This was to realize that Richmond has now changed their mindset in a way, right? Because it went down, it failed twice, the name change.
At least, yeah.
At least twice. It definitely failed twice.
Right.
So now, boom, to your point, Mike, the hardship that we're going through, the tension, right? Communities not really digging the idea of the name change, not feeling it, right? But then at the end, to see all of it, it was pretty fantastic, actually.
Well, I think once it got over the hump, and
Yeah.
once it made it, and you knew that it was going to happen, it was an easy sell. It was like, it was like,
It was.
would you pay $5 for this? Hell yeah, sir.
Yeah.
It would be like, hell yeah, I'll pay $5 for that. It was
Of
like
course.
everything became so easy. The ask became so easy.
Right.
It was getting the momentum and getting
Yes.
people to vote and support it. That
That's
was
it.
probably the
All right, so let's talk
That's
about
But
that.
once you get to the top,
Yeah,
everybody's like,
let's
I want a
talk-
seat on the train.
that
come
seems
down.
like a very important teachable moment for
Yeah.
anyone interested
Yeah.
in community organizing
Correct.
or changing something they wish was better where they live.
Yeah.
That it will feel insanely difficult and you will have wall after wall after wall,
Right.
resistance after
Yeah.
resistance after resistance
Yeah.
until you break through, and then the bandwagon's going to get crowded fast.
That's
I want to stick in that topic real quick. That hardship before
Yeah.
the easy sell.
I wanted him to talk about, because to your point, the process. We had our first branded public forum. Talk about that, Michael.
Yeah.
You
That
covered
was
that.
That was amazing, and for Virginia Museum of Fine Arts,
Right,
auditorium.
right.
So
And this was in
that was the public forum in November.
Okay.
And Don Treese and David spoke and presented to, at the time, Boulevard residents.
Right.
And they spoke about who Arthur Ashe was and the significance of, possibly changing the street name to celebrate one of Richmond's favorite sons.
Right.
And there was support from organizations like Scott's Edition and a few other residential communities. But there was a surprising, yet not so surprising amount of resistance and even ugliness. People were saying things that they didn't realize was racially insensitive or, and making illogical arguments.
Right.
In urban planning, we have an expression called NIMBY, not in my backyard. So everyone's like, oh, it's great to name something about after Arthur Ashe. How about somewhere else?
Right, not
How about
here.
this overpass that leads to the highway that people take for 2 seconds, and we'll name that after him. I saw a good-looking mailbox. We could call it Arthur Ashe mailbox. I really don't want my stationery to get redone. People started bringing up dead relatives, and oh my gosh, I get all this correspondence from a dead relative, and they won't be able to find my dead daddy if you change it from Boulevard because post office apparently doesn't have a change of address form.
They don't do that anymore.
And
Apparently.
it was going to drive all these businesses out of business because they're not on the Boulevard anymore. And that was an interesting moment because it set expectations for understanding that it is a process. You are going to find your own character and the character of those around you, because I remember shooting that and thinking, oh, well, we just got whomped. I guess that's the end of that.
Right.
And, you know, Don Treese, former athlete, he had that kind of mojo, like someone just had a tough basketball game.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating to observe David, for instance, and Don Treese. There was, even with that mojo, there was still something rock-like and determined.
Yeah.
And I think for anyone interested in doing something like that, because that's probably one of the most important things that you find a few nerds, and you can change the name of the street, you can start a podcast, you know, get a table.
Right.
Get some King Speech microphones, you got a show, and with a little teamwork, you can do it, but you have to be committed and understand there's going to be resistance.
Well, I think there's a couple of things. I think David's message was so sincere,
Correct.
and it didn't come from a place of ego.
No.
Right.
It was,
No.
it was driven by a bigger gift.
Yes.
Right.
And so you felt that, like I told you when you spoke to us, like I felt that.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, gonna cry, like, and so I think that when you get around someone like that, I think most people have an inherent need to be great, like, and people have to define what greatness is to them.
Correct.
Right.
And, you know, occasionally you recognize that greatness is about supporting other people and about being a part of something, taking your skills that require a little effort and pushing them in support of something else.
Right.
And so I think David was able to draw that in, and everybody that got a seat at the table had that ability. There was no, one of the things that like just blows my mind all the time is that everyone was a doer. There was nobody sitting there being negative. Everybody was just like, I can do this. And then, oh, you need me to do this? I got you. But you know what else? I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this. And then it was like, there were several roles. Because, you know, it's like I was brought on to help handle the media buy, meaning a television station was going to be our media sponsor. Which one was it going to be?
Correct.
There are 3 in town.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we went in and we went into the first one kind of cold. I was like, this is what I think I want. And then I was like, okay, obviously I can't go in cold to the next one. We wrote down
That didn't work.
I mean, it did, but it was like, next time I'm going to write a big media plan.
There you
And
go.
then, so I gave the media plan to Don Treese, and he went into Channel 12 with it. And then Channel 8, they gave us their ideas.
Yeah.
And so we were able to kind of compare notes. And then, boom, we had a media sponsor. And then, you know, the Richmond Magazine's like, we want in. You know, we're like, okay, you're in. And then, you know, Radio 1 is like, we're running. And we're like, okay. So now we know, you know, now I'm sitting at the table. I'm like, we want this. You know, it became like very, like, okay, that's what I was going to do. And I thought, okay, well, I helped them. I walked away. And then they were like, Sandi, you know, what about social media? And I was like, okay, I can do some social media. Okay, I can handle run a show with Priscilla. Okay, I can be there. And then the day of, I'm like, you know, anytime we had an event, I was like, okay, you need to be in front of this camera. So we're talking to this person. I'm grabbing the media. I'm like, you want to talk to this man? You want to talk to Don Treese? You want to talk to David? And they'd be like, why do I want to talk to David? I'm like, okay, let me tell you this story.
Right.
You know? So
Right.
now I'm like educating the media, you know, and I realized that there was a need for me, and I had a role to fill, and I had the skills. And
You're the handler.
I was the handler.
I mean, yo, you had a very
I'm like
hard
even
role.
grabbing Michael, and I was like,
Come this way.
like, you know when you have a wedding and you're like, look, we need the bride and the groom
That's
and
it.
Mama's family. We need the bride and the groom and Daddy's family.
Yeah.
We need, you know, and like I was grabbing Michael like that. We want everybody on the
I just
panel.
keep this
We
on.
want all the actors.
But it was crazy, not to boast you, but you were everywhere. You even whispered like, I need you to get on your Facebook. I need you to post this. Did you get that? I need you to post this right now. And while you were talking to like 3 people. But again, I think it was because David, or yourself as well, had the opportunity to put these puzzles together. But David wasn't bullshitting us.
No,
It wasn't bullshit. It wasn't about I want to make a few dollars.
Yeah.
No, it really wasn't.
Right.
He really had to go, and we believed it. We saw the vision, and it was great. Help us explain, how did you portray that vision in your creative sense?
Well, like you say, and just listening to our conversation, there's all different phases when it comes to creating like something that's going to make history.
Yeah,
okay?
right.
And everyone has this ability, talent, and power that once that baton is passed, it's going to take it to the next level. Listening to Sandi right now I'm understanding how much, looking at the timeline, looking at everything that was going on, by the time it got to Sandi, it was like a turbo boost.
Yeah,
It was a boost of power
we leveled up.
that came into this project that maybe some of us didn't have.
No, that's a fact.
Right? But to that point, everyone had a phenomenal piece. And I have to shout out Dontrese Brown because
oh my goodness,
Dontrese being he's not a native of Richmond, but being here for the short amount of time.
Right.
And when he got here, we had discussions about, okay, when you come to Richmond, certain people you want to talk to, certain people you want to go network with, third. But he was, he led the charge when it came to sponsorship, creative, and a lot of different areas that really just floored me. I mean,
he has a talent.
Right. The amount of money we raised in 30 days, I don't want to even talk about it because the IRS may come and talk about it. But my point to that was, look at what you need to make things happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can't do it on your own. It's impossible.
I think that's important.
You can't do things that, okay, put it this way. You can do things on your own to a certain level. But then you have to bring in other experts to make the train go forward.
Look at these two,
Okay,
right? Leveled up. We leveled up.
That's the point.
And we leveled up. Because, the imagery that this man fit, was crazy. Because it felt like if you weren't there, looking at his pictures, your ass was there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So this trues back to our brand, I would say our brand values that were created behind this, all right? Live purposely, live generously, live intentionally. All of us do that on a daily basis. We may not understand it or know it until somebody points it out. Wow, that's very generous of you. Wow, that person right there, they move with purpose. Right. You got to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Like Sandi, it was hands off. Like the handler is making things happen that we couldn't even dream about.
No. Yes.
We didn't have the like you say, the way of being able to rally and pull people.
And there was no ego though. But there was no ego or nothing. We knew that Sandi was, she has it.
And her intent.
Right. And there was no like, Sandi, we don't like that. Because you can see a lot of
I got to testify to that. Because I recognize that the moment I met you.
Right.
Is
the Sandi show.
in the lobby.
Right.
And she's like, I'm Sandi. I'm David's handler.
Yes.
And you're going to be working
Correct.
You can stay with me.
I'm like, aye. All right. Let's go to it.
Yeah.
And before I forget, I just wanted to shout out Dontrese a little.
Right.
And point out that I knew Dontrese for about 2 years before we got involved with this.
Right.
And I drink with him out in the Henrico area.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
My brothers, their kids go to daycare together. Right. And I just tag along and we became drinking buddies.
Right.
I sit around and talk trash with this dude for 3 hours, like every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And if you're talking trash with someone, you have no idea their secret superpowers.
Correct.
And what else they got going on. Yeah. And so I would just encourage people who are interested in doing something like this to not underestimate the knuckleheads that you hanging out with.
Correct.
Because if I were hanging out with you, like if I were just hanging out with you, I'd be like, oh, we just get dumb and hang out. I wouldn't like, oh, this is Peyton Manning.
I'll like the media,
Get him.
Boom. Sandi's doing another pass for a touchdown. Sandi's doing another pass for a touchdown.
Yeah.
It's
And you're like an octopus. You're over there. You got so many skills, and you're bringing so many people together. But if you're walking by you in Target or something like that, I'm like, okay, there's that guy in the t-shirt, right? But I'm in awe of today because you had to herd cats to get all these donuts on a Saturday. Shout out to you for herding cats to tell this story. It's important, and that kind of drive typifies what made it work.
Exactly. And to the point of the purpose again, because people have to have a purpose. That's the whole discussion, right? That's why again the reason why we're highlighting it is because this couldn't be done without a purpose and a drive. Because a lot of people do want to do big things.
Yeah.
Either don't know how to.
Yeah.
Could be a little pride that they don't want to ask somebody like Sandi to help. But actually they didn't have to ask, Sandi just volunteered.
Right.
But at the same time, it's saying, all right, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like, I got to fall back and trust. It's kind of what we talked about in our episode, is that whole building that whole 360-degree community,
Yeah.
right? Some of it just stops, right? But I enjoyed watching it. But it didn't stop with us, right? Because think about what the sponsors did for us.
They carried their water.
Yes,
They
they
carried
didn't
their
mind. So shout out to all the sponsors that helped with this project, because they also felt the commitment and the drive by, of course, David, but as us as a team, because David represented us when he was out there, and that drive helped. You know what I mean? And it was great to see that there was no pushback from the sponsors.
Yeah.
They felt that drive, and it could have, you know.
What I thought was crazy is that like the sponsor, again, it was like an easy sell. It was like hard to get a sponsor, hard to get a sponsor. Okay, there's a sponsor, there's a sponsor, there's a sponsor. Then it was just like everybody's throwing money at us.
Yeah.
At the end, it was like people are like, I just put my name on something. I don't care. Here's 500. Here's 1,000. And it was like just pouring in, and you're like, dear God, now, oh man, I wish we had like 3 more months, you know, because you started to like really just see it like people, everybody just wanted to be attached.
Right. That's the key.
I think it's, you know, like I said, I worked for 20 plus years in the media. I'd always been on the other side. I'd always been the gatekeeper of what got on the news.
Right.
So, you know, I recognized this was a news story. I recognized that it had a lot of legs on it, and it was going to be covered regardless of what we did.
Yeah.
The media was going to pick it up. We didn't necessarily need a media sponsor. But having those people in our arsenal and telling them, here's how we want you to drive the message, was going to be key.
Right.
And so, like, you know, here I'm running my own small business. It's a fitness studio. It's far removed from media. But I still had that superpower. Like
that
I said,
superpower.
and it's funny that you call it that, because I have other groups that I'm a part of, and I ask people, what is your superpower? Before you became an entrepreneur, before you get landed in this career, what was your superpower that you could do before? Some people are hidden writers, hidden artists. You know, they're great public speakers. Don Treese is an amazing public speaker.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even know that when I first met this dude.
He does. And you're like this, you're like, damn. And I think David's superpower too. I mean, David works like, you know, I mean, he's building roads. Like, it's far, you know, it's appropriate that he wanted to rename a road, but it's still far removed from all the things that it took to make this happen. And that's the thing, like you said, you've got to surround yourself with people. Will Smith says it, Jada says it too. Like, who are you spending time with? Because those are the people that are either going to build you up or bring you down. And really, you should look at your whole life like that. You know, I surround myself, believe it or not, some of my best friends are accountants. And I'm terrible with math, I'm terrible with numbers, and I don't think that's an accident. I think that subconsciously I
Help me out
recognize.
so I don't go broke.
Those people are also very steady eddies. They look at things very linear.
My mom's an accountant, I know it.
So, you know, I think there's some comfort in that for me. But I think with this team, I think it was like that. I think, you know, one person we haven't mentioned that we need to mention is Priscilla.
Oh my
Priscilla
God.
Priscilla, that woman has so many superpowers. That, like, really. And one of the good things was when she was given a task, she took it and like got all the things attached to the task. So like, if it was like, Priscilla, we need a stage and we need, you know, an event happening. She not only had the stage there, she had the event there, she had the DJ there, she had this, you know, the performance. She was very open to like additions. You know, I said to her, do we need someone to perform on the stage? And she's like, you know, who you got in mind? I was like, well, you know, I dance, and I got some fitness people. I can throw a couple of acts out. And then next thing, you know, I'm tying her into Richmond Urban Dance. I'm tying her into this. So it's like, you know, she had her hands in so many very, very important things. From like the tennis balls to the T-shirts to the badges that we wore, to like all the promotional items. And she's carrying it around and she's delivering it. She's doing run of show for several of the events. She was the speaker. Did y'all know she was the speaker at the BMFA? So not only is she juggling all the balls, and she's like, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. David Harris. You know, she's like, she was on it. She was impressed. And that can be really difficult, again, as a woman, to take so many roles on. And to be able to release control of a lot of things. You know, it's like, is this my name on it? You know, But she wasn't like that. She was very
Right.
easy to work with
I
and
think
was
I
instrumental.
first saw Priscilla photographing a meeting after the vote, a celebration planning meeting at Pine Camp. Is that what it's called? Pine Camp
yep.
Elementary School.
Yep.
And Priscilla immediately caught the attention of my lens,
Yes.
where I couldn't stop shooting her because she has an overwhelming mojo of competence.
Yo,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
that's
it's
the
just,
it's crazy.
it's just bone crushing.
Right.
Where woe to any slackers.
Correct.
Right.
Who
That's
are-
it.
and
Yes.
That's it.
it's just so
Yeah.
simultaneously calming, inspiring, and
Kind.
kind,
Yeah.
and
How's she kicking so much ass?
He's so nice.
and
Yeah.
you listen in one of those meetings to
Yeah.
how many answers she's not just answering, but preemptively answering.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information
Yes.
she's coordinating and things she's brought together. And so I found myself as I was shooting, I was like, oh, I'm glad I'm not sitting at this meeting table because I don't want to talk about her. I'm like, guys, I got us some coupons, some sandwiches.
No joke, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
and I got us the Arthur Ash Memorial Fire Hydrant.
Right. Could you imagine anybody talking after Priscilla? Like, what else do you have to say?
Stop sitting me next to Priscilla. I hate talking after her.
But it's a team, though.
though.
And again, like, so being able to give like some value to the listeners.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing is it is a team. If you're
Right.
going to do something, like Baxton, you said
Right.
earlier, you really can't do it alone.
No, you can't.
I mean, you can, right?
Well,
Let's
yeah,
be
you
honest.
can. People
But you
do.
can only be in a certain level.
Right.
But when you actually are confident with yourself
Right.
and you have some self-awareness,
Right.
that you can know that, you know what, I
Yeah.
don't know how to
Yeah.
do photography.
Correct.
You know? Or I don't know how to do any shit with branding.
That's
you,
right. Yeah.
Who do I know?
Right.
Okay, I know so-and-so. Let me talk to them. The worst they can say is no. So what I'm trying to say is it's okay to have a discussion about your dreams and your goals with your peers.
Of course.
Sometimes people are afraid, like, I don't want to tell them, because we come from a society now where it's like, I don't want to tell them what I'm doing because they might make fun,
Right.
or I'm scared.
Right.
Imagine David Harris
Mhm.
trying to change a name on the street. You see, and that's what changed me.
Yeah.
Not to digress or get in a soapbox, but watching David say, you know what, I'm going to change the street name.
Yeah.
It's like, shit, what excuse do I have if I'm trying to do a podcast?
Yeah.
Like, this man's trying to change the street name in the city of Richmond.
After it's been, defeated
Yeah.
twice.
Twice.
Yeah.
Defeated
Yeah.
twice.
Right.
Taking that and being inspired. That is what I enjoyed most about this project. And that's what I want to portray to others. It's like, this project, yes, although in the beginning, super difficult, but isn't everything difficult in the beginning?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But when you have the right team,
Mhm.
you surround yourself with the right people, you have a goal, and you just go after it.
Right.
Man, that's the conversation I was having with David Harris. It's just like, you know, what made you go from an idea just to do it?
Right.
It's just to do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just to get up and do it. And that right there was like, man, when I was in the mix with you guys, and, you know, in the trenches through all this, that's what helped me say, I can do a podcast.
That's good.
I will say this though,
Mhm.
because everybody was so good at their jobs and had done so much legwork, when I got into the team, my job was so easy. Like, I felt like all of the things I needed were already there. I needed photos for social media, they were there. I needed, analytics for social media, they were there. I
That's
needed
right.
artwork, design, it was like boom, 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 boom. I never felt like I was in a deficit. I always felt like I had an
Right.
abundance.
That's it.
Right.
I had an abundance of stuff
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
make my job that much easier.
Right.
And so, and if I didn't know the answer, I just asked the team, and then boom, there it would come, and then I'd be able to feed that back to the
That's
media.
right.
And you can't say that about everything. Like, when I've
No.
had corporate jobs, I've
Mhm.
definitely been at
Yeah.
Capital One and
Yeah, of
Cavalier,
course.
and I've been in
Right.
the media, and you're going, dang, there's some people here that, like, we're just carrying them. They're
Oh, yeah.
not bringing their
That
best.
is also
And
a professional experience.
I mean, that really is it. And you're like,
100%.
I'm trying to get my job done,
Right.
and I cannot. And it's going to take a lot longer than it should have to. That's not how it ever felt on the air. It definitely was a grassroots I mean, I say all the time, it was a movement.
Yeah.
100%.
Because it moved constantly. Everybody was just like, here's all my good stuff, here's all my good stuff. And it's like you're bringing your best constantly.
Whatever you need.
So then your job
very
becomes
true.
that much easier. And then, and it was just like, once it got going, it got so fast and so big. But like I said, then you're like, oh man.
Right.
When it finally dawned on me,
Yeah.
we were sitting in the limousine, remember, after the the social justice forum, and we got into the limo and we're waiting. Who were we waiting? I think
I
we were
don't think
waiting
I
on
was in
Don.
that limo. I'm not
We were
even-
waiting on Don Treese.
That we were waiting on John Trees.
Yeah, but it was like they were trying to take us back to River City Roll. Some people had to go back to the hotel to get their cars. And we were sitting there, and that was the first time I'd ever heard Don Treese speak.
Yeah.
And David spoke, remember, he kind of got like a little
Yeah,
emotional.
yeah.
Right.
And Johnny Ash was there,
Right.
Arthur Ash's brother, and I just wanted to like go climb a mountain. Like I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Right.
And I remember being in the car, and we were quiet, and I said, we just did that, y'all.
Yeah.
We just did that. Did you see what we did?
Yeah.
That's great.
Like somebody cue the Drakes, started from the bottom up. Like, it was like, you just felt this like, and everybody was kind of like, hey, we just did some stuff, and we got 2 more days to do stuff. Like, there was like really, you felt the superpowers just kind of like igniting, and it was this amazing, amazing moment. I'll never forget it. Sitting in the dark of that limousine at the VMFA after that social justice forum, and thinking, I have just not only witnessed history, I was just part of history.
That's right.
And not in a weak, observant way. Like I was part of a change.
Yeah.
I made a change.
Yeah.
And that is like, if you've never, next to like having children, that was like the most enormous thing that's ever happened in my life.
So you're telling me this is the peak for me?
This is it.
I'm done.
This is where you
I'm
stop.
done.
Set the goal.
Yeah.
It really was, because you recognize in the moment that you've done something big, that you're leaving a legacy.
Yeah.
You're leaving something lasting for our children and their children, and that's an amazing.
It was a cool feeling to see the signs.
Yeah.
I don't care. Every time I'm driving 95 on the highway and you see it, you're just like, for me in my head, I'm like, shit, I had the opportunity to be a part of this.
Yeah.
Like,
I got to see that
I got
sign
to
in the
see this
factory.
sign in a factory. I had a text from
You
David
guys
Harris
saw it in the
saying,
factory.
don't show this to anybody until this goes up.
Yeah.
Which is dope.
Well, the day that so when we had the unveiling, Saturday, we're all sitting together nice. I'm sitting next to Baxton, and the mayor says, we promise that now that it's been renamed, all the street signs are going to be changed within 24 hours.
Yeah.
And you're sure, okay.
Right.
And then, but no sooner than everybody says goodbye, thank you for coming, you start seeing the workers across the street changing up the signs.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that's a powerful statement.
did that.
That's
We
legit.
did that. It was happening.
Right.
And like, we're riding in the limousine and we're going by the street sign. And as soon as we saw that one up, we hooked to you. And we got that group picture. And you were like, jump out. We need to be on the side. I've never been
We
so
look like
happy.
we had just come to America.
Yeah, right.
The street sign.
This is what it looks like.
This is beautiful.
This is beautiful. I love it.
It's still, you still do it, right? You
still get those chills. You still get, but could you imagine everybody else that's been in that community for so long, right? And then wanting something like this to see that change.
Yeah.
That's what I think about too. Is like, damn, how many people probably knew Arthur Ash? Knew his family, knew his story, right? And lived and actually witnessed those 2 failures. I'm reiterating the failure because we had to go through failure. Well, David, his family had to go through failure. Kim Gray. Right? So then it's like, again, another piece of motivation that everybody can take from it.
Well, right.
This shit is not going to happen as soon as you say, oh, I got an idea, and it's going to take off. Like, especially not changing the street name.
Well,
regardless of the idea.
But to your point, it makes you feel at ease about what can be done.
Yes.
Okay, because you had a moment. My moment was when we were all walking out of the museum, and we're behind the stage. We're looking at all these people out here.
Right.
Now, to me, I don't get all gooey and whatever.
What's wrong with that, man?
My thing was, what do we do next?
Yeah.
And And that was actually gonna be what I was
My
gonna ask
thing
you.
was, this is finished now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next?
I can ask you that
paid
too.
us in t-shirts
He
this
paid us
time.
in
no joke.
t-shirts.
What's the
Yeah.
next
What's the
check
next
look
move?
like?
Right.
So, that's the point. Like, what else can we change? So that's the continuation. That's our thought right now.
So then what is it?
else needs to be changed?
So where do we go? Where do we go from now? And this is an open question to everybody. Where do we go from here? You know?
I'm very excited about what
Yeah.
David's been doing with the O'Brien Foundation. He
Yes.
and Teresa are laying down a nice foundation with that, and my phone's on to them whenever they want to jam. The lens will be there,
Right.
and whatever trash talk we need.
Yeah.
I'm personally going to be chasing all of you down because I'm hoping to work on a book project. Getting your life story, picking your brains even more than you shared here.
Right.
And you're gonna be like, get away from me and change the locks. I don't like you.
That's how I felt. That's how I felt trying to call these people. These people are gonna be like, yo, take JR off the thread.
Yeah.
Like he keeps asking me. So Sandy, what do you think? What do you think is next?
Whatever the O'Brien Foundation
Yeah,
is doing, I'm
whatever.
going to be on board with. I think that the obvious is changing some of Richmond public schools and some of the,
Yeah.
and especially where sports is involved and
Yes.
where there's a minority disparity. I think that it's time to make change. I mean, I think in the Hispanic community, in the Black community, I think there's just been a huge deficit of interest and support. And now that we know that we can get people rolling, I feel like that is definitely where to go. On a personal level, like I said, I thought that I was leaving that whole media side behind,
Yeah.
and I thought that I was just going to focus on this whole new fitness business
Mhm.
for me. But what I realized is, I'm a conduit to connect people,
Mhm.
and I have more to give, and I have more gifts.
Yeah.
And I've recognized that,
Right.
and so I was talking to David, and I said I was thinking about starting my own business where I would help, media for other people, like I did for you. And he's like, and I said, what do you think? You think that's a good idea? And he's like, I don't know, Sandy. I just wanted to rename a street. And I was like,
Yeah.
You started
he's like,
something.
I just wanted to name a street. I was
Right.
like, you're right. Like,
You're
so
right.
anything's possible. That's
Yeah.
that's kind of the idea now. I
Yeah.
feel like anything's possible. And I will say before
Right.
Yeah.
that where we might have come in is just like just unique individuals. I feel like immediately I've made lifelong friends. Right?
Yeah,
Isn't that
exactly.
crazy?
I intend to stalk y'all for the
Yeah.
directions.
So
and put
so
you
we
in
gotta have
box,
like
so-
reunions every
Right,
year.
right. We gotta do a year
Mark
anniversary.
It's-
Right.
It's a whole different thing now.
Yeah, that's
No,
right.
yeah, facts.
That's correct.
What you think?
Oh yeah, I agree. We need to remind ourselves what we did all the time. Remind each other, how great this was. And when we embark on those new projects that you're talking about, remind the city what we did. Because it was the city that helped this happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Remind them about it so we can go and, like you said, change Richmond Public Schools, change, disparities and food, lunch, free lunch, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We need to remind them about the Arthur Ash Blvd renaming and how we can come together and make this happen.
No, yeah, I agree. I think where we go from here is just having that motivation that we can make more positive change in our community.
Right.
And the foundation that Don Treese and David has now created, that foundation, I think that is going to be as a team, another challenge for us to make positive changes, but to hopefully start a trend. And it's just not our team.
Right.
It's more several teams around the city are coming together and making a huge team to make some serious changes. Because, that's what this is all about eventually at the end of the day, right? We want to make a positive change for the community that we live in. And
It's our house.
it's our house. Regardless if we're from,
Right.
we weren't born here. Like, I wasn't born here. But the city embraced me. Gave me my first opportunity in my career. And so then I would have to always give respect to where respect is good. Like, it's due.
Correct.
And so guess what? I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure the city, is giving the best to the people that live in here. But look, guys, I appreciate it, man. I thank you guys again for the time. You guys are great.
Thank you for having us here. Thank you for what you're doing, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys. And again, man, I'm honored to be a part of the team and have you guys, in my life. And let's keep on making history. Get fresh brew.
We gotta get some shirts.
Yeah, that's right. Hey,
We need a new shirt.
Right? Thank you guys again for watching another episode of Close the Gap Podcast. Y'all know the vibes. Peace.
Hey.